All right, now this is a subject I don't think I discussed on this channel. I think I might have done a video about Monique on the Steve Harvey show. That was what 2 to 4 months ago, but there was a 4 to 5 part interview on the YouTube channel called Comedy Hype, which is actually very good. There are plenty of wonderful guests that I remember growing up seeing, like Guy Torrey and uh, Overton Wakefield Jones. I forgot his real name, but from Living Single, he was on there, and various other, black comedians, or just people who have been on television, or actors and whatnot. So I think that most people are comparing Comedy Hype to Vlad TV in a way, and the channel is doing pretty well. I remember when I first found it, it was about around the same number of subscribers as me, but now they shot up to over 120,000 subscribers. So yeah, go to Comedy Hype. That's the name of the YouTube channel, Comedy Hype. But they did an interview with Monique, which I don't know if it's over. I know there's been several parts that have been released. And the reason I'm doing this video is because, Monique has been getting traction on other big channels as well. But it seems like in every video, she's addressing a different person. One was about Steve Harvey, Lee Daniels, Whoopi Goldberg, Oprah Winfrey, Charlemagne the God from the Breakfast Club. And I think the last video that was posted a couple of days ago was about 20 minutes long, really in regards to her husband, Sydney, who is also her manager, and most people know, aka Daddy. But I don't know if the interview's done. I hope there is at least one or two more parts, because I will say this was, in my opinion, the best Monique interview that I've seen in quite a while. I think there was another interview I saw a couple months ago when she was on the Ricky Smiley radio show. I saw that video on his YouTube channel, and it was just her, not her husband. It was just her on there. And in terms of, Monique, I think that was probably her best interview in a while, period, because it was her really talking about her past as a comedian, her journey, as well as what's going on now. I believe she has a residency in Las Vegas, if I'm not mistaken. So it was the first interview in a while where I've heard Monique talk about what's going on now, as opposed to just bashing other black celebrities. And I get it, like the Oprah thing, that was really messed up, and I can see where her anger and everything comes from. But I feel like ever since the Netflix boycott, my biggest complaint is she's, instead of doing like a comedy tour, she's been doing like this, Netflix boycott tour. I mean, obviously she's not really harping on the Netflix thing specifically, but it's just still the same thing where I know in this one video she said she wanted Oprah to apologize, and um it's kind of one of those things where it's most likely not going to happen. There are just some things where, and again, I'm not telling her what to do, because based on what Oprah did, based, on her stories and whatnot, that was really messed up. Sometimes it's not about getting the apology, but just moving on. And I think that's the one thing Monique should really focus on, because a lot of people in the comments were saying the same thing. It's like, well, let's go back to 2018 when it came to the Netflix deal. When it comes to getting offered, what was it? I believe it was $500,000. What if they gave Monique something close to what she felt she deserved? That was the one thing about the Monique thing during that period of 2018 why I didn't like. In all the interviews, she never really answered the questions that were given her. This goes back to the Breakfast Club and Sway in the Morning and other media venues she was on. I think several times people have asked her, is like, well, you talked about Amy Schumer and Chris Rock and Dave Chappelle, how much money they made, but how much money do you feel, you deserve as a comedian on, Netflix and everything? But she would never answer the question. And then when her husband, if he happened to be there in person or over the phone and whatnot, they would just give this elaborate beating around the bush scenario or metaphor, but never outright answered the question. So let's just say that if they did give her something that was either close to what she wanted or felt she deserved, would we really have Monique and, going ranting, I guess is the best way to put it. And a lot of people agree no. And I have to say that's probably the case. Now, once again, I feel like Monique, the biggest thing that I took away from, early 2018 when she was, going all these different media outlets, for me, number one, I didn't like the pocket watching aspect of it. Like her going on these big platforms and revealing how much people are making. Like, I don't know the exact dates and amounts. And when I say that, I mean, I don't know if she was, talking about what Dave, Chris, and Amy were making before it was revealed to the public. Like, for example, I know way back when I was working at Bojangles one summer before my senior in high school, one thing they said was never talk about how much you make, because some people make more than others. And it's really based on the amount of time you work. Some people got more hours than others. It was just a summer gig. So it's just one of these situations where if I'm minding my own business, getting my bag, I don't want it on. The public doesn't know unless, it was meant to be known, whether, Netflix has something where, hey, they will put out an article that shows the price range for certain people, or, I want my management team to, and I don't have one, I'm just speaking if I was a celebrity, I wouldn't want somebody who's disgruntled just blasting how much I'm making. And hey, if Jeremy's getting half of the pie, how come I'm only getting a slice? And it's like, I think Charlemagne said it best, is like, we live in the what have you done for me lately culture. And the thing is, not knocking anything from Monique, she has an impressive resume. And I know she kept saying how Netflix kept saying the same thing and saying she's a living legend and whatnot. But you have to look at today's generation. Like, Netflix is the one that was putting the money forward to pay you for the Netflix special. And they're looking for artists who will give them bang for their buck. Like, how many people will click on, like, what you have Chris Rock, Dave Chappelle, Amy Schumer, who I don't personally think is funny, but she is successful. How many people will click on Monique over those individuals? Like, how many people will be checking for a Monique special at the level of, let's say, Cat Williams special? Like, not even Dave Chappelle or Chris Rock, but just Cat Williams in general. Like, what was his last special, Great America or whatever? Like, personally, I didn't like it. I think the last 20 minutes were good, but the first half was very slow for me. And when it comes to Monique, like the Parkers, great series. She's been in several movies, not even counting Precious, but she's been in several other movies. But the thing is, the kids today, the younger generation, really don't know about Monique's past and all of her great accomplishments. So she hasn't really dropped anything lately. And that's why a lot of people wouldn't just click on her special right away. But then you also look at the fact that I feel like there's just been so much wasted potential. Like, she's been on so many different, she was on The View, The Breakfast Club, Sway in the Morning. She has her podcast and everything with her husband. But the one thing is, we haven't heard about what Monique is doing. She kept saying how she was like hanging on to Netflix. And I think in several other interviews, I think even on The Breakfast Club, like she talked, that she was asked, well, if things don't work out with Netflix, are you thinking about going to another platform? But the thing is, I doubt anyone would want to work with her because of her difficulties with Netflix. Like, there are some things you handle behind closed doors as opposed to bring out to the general public. So, if I were Amazon or Hulu and I saw the Monique situation with Netflix, I probably wouldn't want to work with her, because let's say if I give her an offer and she doesn't want it because she feels like she deserves more, then she'll probably storm out of the room, hypothetically, and then blast me on social media about how much, black people are undervalued and everything like that. And it's just like, well, no, it's just that we don't feel like the return will be as great. And I remember when the whole boycott thing happened, I'm like, man, if I were her, Monique, I know she could throw down on stage. She should have taken that money, murdered that special, and then Netflix would have been the ones to be sorry. So when she did another special, they would have to pay through the nose for her, theoretically. So I just look at it from that perspective, and I'm just tired of hearing the same thing. Like, literally, it's been over a year now. Like, you're still singing the same old song, talking about the Oprah thing and Lee Daniels and Steve and everything like that. And it's just, at this point, sometimes you just got to realize when it's time to just do your own thing. Because it seems like, Monique has all this integrity and, isn't afraid to fight, Goliath, so to speak. But it seems like, based off her belief system, Hollywood really isn't a thing for her. And it's like, I get it. Change does need to happen. But when you think about it, Hollywood really wasn't made for black people to begin with. We aren't really the ones who make the rules. And for a lot of people who are successful, they pretty much stepped out on their own and made their own way. Like Tyler Perry Studios, for example, like love the movies or hate them, or the television shows, he is doing his own thing. So you can't fault the man for that. And no, I'm not taking sides with Tyler Perry because my, channel is pretty much based on his shows and whatnot, because I'm self-employed myself. I quit my job at the call center because I got sick of how things were being done there and how I was treated, and I decided to make my own thing. So I'm just a person where I don't really go or stay where I'm not wanted. So I do hope there is maybe one or two more sections of this interview on Comedy Hype that reveal, like, what Monique's plans are going forward. Like, I wish her the best of luck with the Las Vegas residency. But I know in one portion she talked about how she was sad, like, what was it, like Whoopi Goldberg was only getting like $5 million a year on The View compared to her other associates. But here's my thing with this. Like, it's easy to, speak up about how people are being underpaid and whatnot. But the thing is, it's their choice. I mean, saying only 5 million to an audience of, well, I guess you could say regular people, it's just like when you're saying boycott Netflix because you were only being offered 500,000. Like, why would I give up an affordable luxury just for you to get more money? And how's that going to affect me at all? So when she's talking about, once again, pocket watching other people, that's the one thing you just worry about getting your own money and not worried about other people's finances. It's like, I just don't get that. That's just me. I don't know. I'm just speaking, from my perspective. But yeah, like I said before, it was a very well done interview. I think the person conducting the interview was very good. He allowed them to speak. I feel like they did answer all the questions that they were given, but there are just some questions that just have gone unanswered, in my opinion. And I was hoping they would have addressed the situation last year where Monique released those phone calls she had with Tyler Perry. And looking back, I think the reason for that was to once again say, like, now you see these people behind closed doors, they say that I'm right, but when it comes to being out in front of people, they don't say anything at all. And once again, I thought that was a bad move, in my opinion, because I know legally, what is it, like, phone calls can be recorded and whatnot. But to release that to the general public, like, for me, that would have been like a bridge that was blown up and eradicated. Burned bridge is not even appropriate for what that would have, how I would have described it. So I personally don't think there's going to be any kind of reconciliation between Monique and the people that she's pretty much bashed in public. Like, once again, I'm not saying she wasn't wrong, but I'm just saying that she's most likely better off trying to do her own thing, instead of just, going on and on about the same thing, sound like a broken record. That's my opinion. So with that being said, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. And with that being said, I hope you subscribe to the channel, and I'll talk to you soon. Congratulations on making it to the end of this video. If you like what you just saw, make sure to hit the thumbs up button, or if you have anything you would like to add to the video, make sure to leave your thoughts in the comment section below. If you want to keep up with me on social media, go to the description box. All of my links for social media are right there. Also, if you feel like you would like to donate to the channel, make sure to click on the link to PayPal. Any amount helps. $1, $5, $20. As a full-time YouTuber, any support from my fans really does mean a lot to me. Finally, make sure to hit the subscribe button as well as the bell notification icon. That way you're kept up to date on any new content I post to the channel. Once again, thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll talk to you in the next video.